What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super Deck profile. Vegito has always been one of our favorite characters, and I feel like, unfortunately, Bandai has kind of screwed him over every time they give him a new archetype. It's like the intent is there, but the card support is lacking. And one of my favorites to play has always been the older green stuff, just because Hyper Rush has always been a super powerful card. So we went ahead and decided to revisit this leader and try and make this deck as aggressive as possible. So we've got the set 3 Vegito leader. When he attacks leader, draw a card. Untap 2 when he awakens, which is really good for this deck, and I'll tell you why in a moment. On the awakened side, we have Going All In, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. During your turn, when your opponent has no battle cards in a battle area, he gets plus 5,000 and double strike. When he attacks, he gets to draw a card, and if your opponent has 2 or less battle cards, he gets 5,000 power for the duration of the turn as well. So, on your turn, if your opponent has no battle cards, he's a 25,000 double strike leader, which is an absolute insane ability for a leader. Puts a lot of pressure forward. The best way to make use of this leader, though, is to have a really aggressive deck that can awaken as early as possible, with the goal being probably around turn 2, if not turn 3 at the latest. Now, the first card we run to help us with that goal is, of course, Newfound Power Son Gohan. When you attack, take a card from your life, add it to your hand. He gets plus 10 and critical. This card is one of the cards you're going to mulligan for every time for the beginning of the match, because you want to get at least one of these so that you can try and get yourself down to that 4 life to awaken. Then there's another card that really aids us in getting the leader awakened as early as possible. I feel like it's a card that is often overlooked. It is Infernal Emperor Frieza. When you play this card, you get to choose a card in your life, add it to your hand. So as soon as you play him, you get to add that card. And ideally, this is another card you want to search for with your opening hand. This is something you want to mulligan for. The goal is to awaken by turn 3. If you can get yourself down to 4 life by turn 3, turn 2 is better, just because your opponent probably doesn't want to help you awaken, especially that early. So, you've got the Gohan and the Frieza that help you do the job. And you've also got your opponent attacking your leader. So ideally, they're going to start attacking you with their leader to get their leader's ability to get the draw off their leader. You're going to take at least 1 damage from them. And then you've got the Gohan, you've got the Friezas. We run 4 of each of those, so you've got plenty of targets to be able to get your life down as quick as possible. And these cards also help you get to that 4 life, because, as I said, once your opponent gets you down to 5 life, they're probably not going to want to attack you again, so you're going to have to make that final push to be able to get yourself to awaken. Then we run 4 Vegito Polymorphic Potara. This is easily one of the best looking cards in the entire game, especially for Vegito. His activate main says, for 1 energy, place him in your drop area. If your leader is Vegito, choose a Goku and a Vegeta in your drop or your deck with energy cost of 2 or less. Negate their skills, play them in rest mode, and then you can't play non-Vegito cards for the duration of the turn, and the Goku and Vegeta that is brought out by the ability go to your drop area at the end of the turn. So, for this ability, we run 4 of the Set 2 Vegeta and 4 of the Set 2 Bundle of Curiosity Son Goku. These are the ones we play because, obviously, since the deck is going to be basically mono-green, that red Vegito just doesn't count. The deck's mono-green, so you want these. That way you can charge them if you draw into them. There is the 1-cost Goku from the World Martial Arts Tournament set that you could run. He wouldn't get his ability. It wouldn't really be much different, but you could run him if you wanted to run a 1-drop in case you wanted to make it easier to put them into play. The main idea is you want to be awakened. You want to be able to awaken by turn 3. Because turn 3, you want to be able to play Vegito Polymorphic's ability to get out the Vegeta and the Goku, and Union Potara them into Vegito Super Warrior Reborn. This was one of the cards that you got from the championship packs from last year, and I have loved this card's art ever since. And really, the only ideal way to play him is to awaken your leader, because they are dumb, and Bandai made it to where the ability is only usable when the leader's awakened. For 3 green energy, you get the Union Potara, you draw 2 cards. So you get the two extra cards to draw on the Union, and then if your leader is going all in Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, you get to choose a Vegito, 25,000 power in your hand, and evolve it for free. So Polymorphic comes out Polymorphic activates for 1 energy, brings out the Vegeta and the Bundle of Curiosity. You union them into Vegito Super Warrior Reborn, draw you 2 cards, activate main, and play Hyper Rush Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. 25,000 power, triple strike, and when you play him, since your lead is Vegito, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and one of their cards in their hand, place them in the drop area. And since it places them, they are not getting KO'd, so no effects are going to trigger from that. And then you get to draw 2 cards. So between Super Warrior Reborn and Hyper Rush, you're already drawing 4 cards. So that's +4 on your opponent. And then plus 2 more because you're pitching a card from their hand and removing a card from their board. So that's +6 advantage you're getting there. And then you can choose to add 2 cards from your life to your hand. That's +8. That's a lot of card advantage coming out in that one turn. Now, the reason you want to get to turn 3, get awakened to turn 3 as quick as possible is because the Polymorphic Vegeta costs 1 energy to play. So you want to use that energy, and you can do something else with the other energy if you wanted to. But use the 1 energy, bring out the Goku and Vegeta. Use the leader to awaken to untap your energy. You now have 3 energy again. That's when you union Potara into Super Warrior Reborn, and then bring out Hyper Rush. All of that happening turn 3 is pretty powerful for that to go on so early. That's a lot of card advantage you're going to draw into. And then on top of that, because of his ability and everything else you're doing, if they have no cards in play, then you're going to have a 25,000 triple striker and a 25,000 double striker. That's a lot of damage coming through. And to even increase the damage output of the leader's ability, we run 4 Blazing Technique. It's a 1-cost extra card that says if your leader card is a green Vegito, it gets plus 50,000 power for the duration of the battle. And if it's your turn, you can KO one of your opponent's battle cards 4 or less, or 2 or less with ignoring barrier. So this removes cards from your opponent's board, gives you a huge amount of power for your leader, and plus it's already being at 25,000. That's 40,000 double strike coming at your opponent just for 1 card. So this helps clear your opponent's board to trigger your leader's ability, and again, 40,000 double strike is insane, especially when you can do that stuff as early as turn 3. Then to go on alongside the Blazing Technique, we run 4 Surprise Attack Frieza. This is a card that I just love to play because obviously the goal of the game is to KO your opponent's battle card, so he's so easy to bring out. He's green, so he's perfect to use for energy in this deck as well. His ability says when an opponent's battle card is KO'd, if you don't have him in play, you can play him for free from your hand. So he's a 15k critical that just gives you an extra battle card. It gives you extra pressure, and the extra damage can set you up for a kill shot, either with the leader's ability or with the Hyper Rush Vegito. Then, as an added bonus to help clear the field, we run 4 Trunks Dimension Sniper. You overwhelm him for free, so that really helps with the energy management for this deck, and you get to choose an opponent's battle card 3 or less and send it to the warp. So this helps you keep your opponent's board clear so that your leader can have both of his abilities active and be able to just stomp your opponent's face. For our super combo, we've got 4 God Grace Whis. It doesn't really matter what your super combo is. I just chose the 4 or less life because ideally you're going to awaken pretty quickly, so you're not really going to have to worry about how long that takes. The Sparking Leader also doesn't really work with this deck just because we do run the Overwhelm to try and clear the board. I was going to run the Black Master Saiyan because it can get rid of multiple battle cards, but I felt like that wasn't necessary for 1, and 2, it also kind of got in the way of the energy crisis that the deck has with trying to make all of your plays on the proper turns. The only way the Master Saiyan would be more ideal than the Trunks is if you were able to do it on turn 3, activate the Polymorphic Potara and bring out the Goku and the Vegeta, then play the Master Saiyan, for the other energy, and then Awaken, and then you can still untap your energy and have 3 to Union into Warrior Reborn. But that's a little bit more of a situational play. That's why I went with the Trunks over the Master Saiyan. And that early on, your opponent shouldn't have too many battle cards with that high of a power level anyways. And in the case that they do, we also run 2 Father-Son Kamehameha, because it lets you choose an opponent's battle card, energy cost greater or equal to their energy and KO it. For 1 energy, that's a really, really cheap way to get rid of some board presence your opponent has. And then lastly, we ran 4 Preemptive Strikes, just because it counterplays any battle card 4 or less, so it keeps your opponent's board clear for your leader's abilities. Now, with set 8 coming out soon, it might be more beneficial to use Focus Breakthrough over Preemptive Strike. The only difference there is Preemptive Strike can hit 4 or less. Focus Breakthrough can only hit 3. But since you are trying to Awaken as soon as possible, Focus Breakthrough would be a very playable card. And since you can also use it to take cards from your life as well, instead of having that energy to play it, you could play it after making your play to drop Super Warrior Reborn and go into Hyper Rush, where you don't have any energy, but you can still activate your counterplay. That's probably what I'm going to do once the set comes out. I feel like it's a pretty strong, solid play. And it's still a really good counter. Now, you could also use Hidden Power of the Saiyans instead of Preemptive Strike. I personally thought Preemptive Strike was better because even though, yes, it is nice how Hidden Power can make your opponent discard 2 cards, but if the battle card is still there, my leader doesn't get his abilities, and if I can't remove it, then that becomes a problem. The added bonus to Hidden Power is that it can counterplay a battle card of any cost, whereas Preemptive Strike only hits 4, Focus Breakthrough only hits 3, but again, your opponent having the option to actually play the battle card, and if they want it bad enough, it's got a good ability, or if they just know, so obviously they know what leader you're playing and they don't want you to get your leader's ability, then they may choose to discard and that battle card will still come into play. So that's why I opted to not play that one. It'd be a good side deck option for sure. The green's getting a lot of good support coming out, so green is going to get stronger and stronger, and there's going to be better options for side decking. You could also side deck the Master Saiyan. That's probably something I would do, just so that you have a little bit more removal presence. But that's going to wrap up this deck profile. If you guys enjoyed, if you guys are fans of Vegito like me, if you feel like he is underrated, underappreciated, and really needs to get some better support from Bandai, hit that like button, because I feel the same way. Vegito is a fantastic character. I'm not going to get into the war between Gogeta and Vegito, but obviously Gogeta has been getting more broken cards that have less answers to them, while Vegito has kind of been sitting there on the sidelines getting unique strategies, but strategies that are more likely to fall through on the end. So, let me know what you guys think of the deck. If you guys want to try it out for yourself, let me know how well it does for you. If you have any suggestions, or if you've tried anything like this before, let me know how it worked for you in the comments down below. With that, we're going to go ahead and get the frig out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.